皆さん、英語のソータです。
And I'm Riley.
Riley, it's so hot in Osaka. How about in Kagawa?
Yeah, here too. I mean, it's crazy.
What is the temperature there?
Well, right now it's 27 because it's nighttime, but the high today was 35.
35?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, in Osaka today it was 34, but it's hotter in Kagawa. It's
it's not fair. It shouldn't be. I mean, I guess it's July now, just barely, but
yeah,
it's gonna get hotter.
Every year.
Yeah, that's true.
When you came to Japan, what was the temperature? Do you remember around this season?
I don't remember exactly, but I feel like I remember that 35 was like a crazy hot day.
Yeah.
And now it's 35, like by mid-July, probably in like 2 weeks or whatever, it'll be 35 like every day.
Yeah, when I was a kid in June, it was still cool. And then not that hot like, now.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, because I work with kids, right? Like we, in the summertime, like we have to be careful, like not to do things outside.
Yeah.
Because it's too hot for the kids. But I remember like when I was a kid, if it was summertime, any kind of like after school event or any kind of like activity would be outside because they'd want to take us outside because the weather was nice, whatever. But now it's like the opposite. You can't go outside in the summer with kids because it's too hot. They'll get, heat stroke or something.
Yeah, that's true. So nowadays, sports festivals take place around maybe in May or April. But when I was a kid, it was around October. But it's still hot in Japan now. So it's changing.
Yeah. Yes.
ね、そう。皆さん、暑いですね。もう大阪も、今日収録がちょうど7月1日の夜なんですけど、もう6月のね、終わりぐらいからずっと暑かったですよね。で、なんか最近僕が小さい時ってこんな6月7月って暑かったっけなとかちょうど考えてて、で、ライリーが来たのがね、7、8年前、10年ぐらい前ってなった時に、どんな感じかって聞いてましたけど、そう、今ね、子供さんのこうイベントとかね、外出ちゃ危ないよとかっていうのは夏に言ってたものだと思うんですけど、もう最近は運動会もね、こうもう日時とかシーズンが開催時期変わっちゃうくらい暑すぎますよね。なので大阪も今34度、今日34とかだったかな、昨日35とかだったかな、で香川も35っていうことで、全国の皆さん、北海道の方はもしかしたらまだ涼しいのかもしれないんですけど、夏バテなどにはね、お互い気をつけて、ちょっと今年もね頑張って乗り切りたい、めっちゃ噛んだわ、乗り切りたいですね。はい、僕は英語のソータで調べていただくといろいろ SNS 出てきますので、よかったらフォローしてください。スレッズも最近はちょっとなるべく更新するようにしてるので、はい、いろいろ、ちょっとほんま更新、ちょっとまだらにはなってるんですけど、なんとか、生き絶えたら死んでまうな。なんとか生きながらえておりますので、ぜひフォローしてください。ライリーは Riley Sandman XD で調べてみてください。Okay, Riley, are you ready?
Yep.
ソータと
Rileyの
台本なし英会話 lesson.
Episode 320.
All right, what is the topic for episode 320, Riley?
It's giving compliments in America. Sorry. Giving compliments in America versus Japan.
Yeah, because it's too hot in Kagawa now. Yes.
Something like that.
今回
Chewing
の
on the air.
Yes. 今回のお題は、人を褒めることです。Your voice is so cool.
Why?
Because
What do you mean?
giving compliments.
Oh, I see. Aha.
You look really
little slow.
you look really cool today. I can't see though. So
Yeah, you have really good vision.
そう。はい。今回はですね、ちょっと僕が決めさせていただいたんですけど、 I feel like in America or yeah, people in Western countries are pretty good at giving compliments. For example, they often say, "Oh, I like your shirt," or "I like your shoes," or "That looks good on you," or something like this. So, I also kind of got inspired by the way they give nice compliments to others. So, especially when I was working with yeah, Nate or Sean or yeah, anybody. So since then, I've been trying to say something nice. For example, yeah, I'm always trying to find something nice. Yeah, that's why I said Riley's voice is really cool or something like this. But at the same time, I sometimes wonder if they really feel so. So my question is, okay, then can I start with this question?
Sure.
Do you think sometimes people give compliments without actually thinking like that?
Uh, yeah, I think sometimes, yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so let's focus on that kind of culture, yeah, in
Mm.
America in this episode. So first of all, do you also think do Americans often give compliments to others?
Um, yeah, I feel like it's more common in America than in Japan, at least. Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, can you give us some examples?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think you said a lot. I mean, complimenting what someone is wearing is pretty common, or their hair or something about their appearance.
Mm,
Um, it's it can be done in a way where like I guess it's possible that like men can compliment women and it doesn't feel like they're, hitting on them or something. That's like a little bit of a difficult thing to do to like
mm,
compliment in such a way that it seems just friendly
mm,
sometimes. But obviously like men can compliment men, although
mm,
it's not as common as women complimenting women. I think women compliment each other a lot.
mm, 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 mm.
And sometimes that's fake, I'd say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when I was in college too, our teachers also said, "Oh, I like your hat," or "I like your cap," or "nice clothes," or something like this. So I was wondering if they're always trying to find something nice, intentionally. So maybe your answer is yes.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say always, right? Like
Mm,
it's not like if you get complimented by an American, you don't have to think, oh, he's probably just saying that. Like, there's a good chance that he or she really thinks it.
mm,
But yeah, sometimes there is like people do look for something to compliment. I mean, often they really do feel that way.
mm.
But yeah, maybe they were trying to find something to say something nice about.
Hmm. Yeah, I also believe that they're saying that honestly, or I don't think they're saying without actually feeling in that way. But my point was if whether or not they're trying to find some good points, they try to
Yeah,
focus on those good points.
yeah, I think a lot of people do that. Yeah.
うん。That's so cool. うん。一旦ちょっとまず訳したいんですけど、そう。やっぱりね、それいい文化ですよね。で、僕もすごいショーンとかね、でも、もともとはどこからかな、まあ、大学時代とかかな、まあ、いろんな外国人と接する中で、結構褒めてくれるなと思うんですよね。で、まずは結構見た目に関して、誰だったかなちょっと、誰か忘れたんですけど、学校の先生とかだったかななんか、I like your shirt とかね。なんか絶対見た目のことまず言ってくれるなって思って、そこからこれすごいいい文化だなと思って、もうなんか昔から人と会った時に、ライリーにも僕多分よく言うと思うんですけど、yeah, I really love your, red and yellow and green colorful sweater, shirt you often wear.
Yeah. Yeah. I wear that
Uh,
one.
yeah, yeah, I like that one. So I often say, I like the shirt. そう、ライリーがよく着てるね、カラフルなシャツあるんですよ。多分僕のインスタにも写真で載ってると思うんですけど、赤、黄色、緑みたいな。あれ、ラグビーのなんかやった
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of designed on a rugby shirt, but it's not like actually a rugby team or anything like that.
うんうんうん。そう。で、ライリーに会った時に、結構その服いいねと思った時、僕結構言ったりとか、あるいは靴とか、ライリーの靴とか僕もすごい言うんですけど、全然思ってないのに言うっていうことは絶対ないんですけど、なんか僕も目に入るようになったんですよね。そういうふうにそういうふうに言うのいいなと思ってたら、まず外国人の方と会った時に、あ、この服が可愛いとか、この靴がいいとか、なんか目に自然に入るようになったので、言うようにしてるんですよね。でもふと思ったのが、アメリカ人とかって思ってなかったとしても言うてくれたりするときあんのかなっていうことと、まあ、あともう一個が、実際にやっぱいいところ探そうっていう感じで、こう会った時に見てるのかっていうのをまず聞きたくて今質問を始めてました。で、また後でここは掘り下げられればと思ってるんですけど、一つは、そう、あんまり思ってなくてもやっぱり言ったりする時はあるんじゃないかと。特にまあ女性同士とかだったりすると、フェイクって言ってましたけどね、そういう、まあそれは日本でもあるかもですけど、うん、かわいいみたいな思ってへんのに言うてることあるんちゃうかっていう、そういう感覚ってやっぱバンコク共通として人によってはあるんだなって今思いました。あとやっぱ男性から女性っていうのはね、ヒロンって言ってましたけれども、こう、口説いてるとかナンパしてるような感じに聞こえちゃうので、やっぱなかなか言えなかったりするけれども、いや難しいところだったりするけど、やっぱり男同士とかだったら言ったりとか、まあ、女性同士もやっぱ言ったりするっていう、うん、っていうところでしたよね。うん。So, where do you think that custom or culture um, comes from, you think? For example, your parents often do that, or Americans always trying to find or trying to praise somebody else. I mean, others. Where does it
Right.
come from? Hmm.
Where does it come from? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just something it's kind of polite to do, I guess. Like,
Mm,
I don't know like why it started or anything like that, but
mm,
it feels like something that's yeah, nice to do. Although I should say that like I'm not the best at it. I'm not the best at giving compliments. I'm also not the best at getting compliments.
I know. I know.
But yeah, yeah, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So you're not that kind of person. So yeah, what makes the difference? That's the question I was gonna ask you. But yeah, yeah. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, I think I don't know that there is some kind of like politeness about it where you should say something that like you like about someone's outfit or something like that.
Mm,
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe my parents didn't do it so much. It's why I don't
mm,
do it. But like, I think if I do give a compliment, then it means that I really, really feel that way.
mm,
Like
mm,
it like kind of stuck out to me so much that I felt I should say something. But
mm.
I personally don't look for things to say something nice about usually.
Oh, okay. But for example, when teaching, especially teaching kids, you try to look for
Mm.
something nice.
Yeah, I
Oh,
will often tell kids compliments or whatever. And I don't know, maybe that's kind of why I don't do it in real life so much is because it's like it seems like it's kind of like I don't know, like talking to kids. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, one impression I had was like in America, perhaps teachers at schools are doing that, perhaps because when I was in college, I felt so. So maybe you feel like
Mm.
it's a kind of one of the communication teachers often have.
Yeah, that might be true.
Oh.
I don't remember it feeling like particularly strong. Oh, like my teachers compliment me a lot or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, but it could be.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, personally, I love the custom. So since then, yeah, since as I said, since I got to know that kind of custom in Western countries, I naturally try to look for something nice. And I'm not saying without actually feeling that, but yeah, naturally now I can see something nice like what they're wearing or yeah, usually
Mm.
what they're wearing. So can you maybe our listeners are also interested in or they might want to give compliments
Mm.
nicely and naturally. So can you give us some? nice examples, like phrases we can use?
Uh, I mean, the most common one, pretty, if you're talking about clothes or something like that,
Mm.
is just to say, I like your whatever, I like your shoes, or I
Uh-huh.
like your shirt, or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then you can follow that up with, where did you get it, or
Mm.
something like that. Yeah. Um, for other kinds of appearance, like, you can say something like, your hair looks good today, or did you do something different with your hair? Oh, yeah, I mean, it's kind of simple. Like, your
Mm-mm.
blah 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 looks good today. Uh, yeah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those are basically the two main ones.
うんうんうん。確かに、そう、次ね、聞かれてる方も、外国人の方と会った時に、こう、褒めたいって思われてる方もいらっしゃるんじゃないかなと。で、僕はこのやりとりが好きなので、基本僕、日本語でも、それいいですねとか、それ好きですねとか、結構昔から言っちゃうっていうのもあると思うんですけど、結構何でも僕言っちゃうじゃないですか。こう、黙ってられないっていう、いろんなものを口に出しちゃうので、結構言っちゃうんですけど、そう僕がよく使うのはもう I like 何々。で、実際にネイティブが言ってくれるのも I like 何々みたいなのが結構多い気はしますよね。そう。なので、皆さんがこれ聞いてくださってる方が、こう、なんか使えるように今フレーズをね、教えてくださいとか、あるいはどこに着眼点を持っていけるのかっていうのを知りたいっていうことで今この質問をしてました。で、ライリーが教えてくれたのが、そう、I like 何々で、だいたい見た目のものですよね。こう、着てるもの、身につけてるもの、で、どこで買ったのとかね、フォローアップって、follow that up って言ってましたかね。それにフォローアップをする形でいろいろ聞いていったらいいんじゃないかっていうところ。あとは、髪の毛とかも言ってましたよね。いいヘアスタイルですね、とか、うん、そういう形でこういろいろやっていけばいいっていうことなので、そう、一回皆さんもやってみてほしいなと。Then another question, yeah, I already
Mm,
asked you, was sometimes um, there are fakers, like people who actually don't think so, but
right.
who say that. う
Yeah,
ん、
I would say, I don't know. I mean, I think it's not so common that they're really faking it, like they're lying.
うん、
Um, unless they are hitting on you,
うん、
then they could be lying.
うん、うん、うん、
Um, or yeah, some people, I mean, the stereotype is like women do it to each other,
あ
um, to be kind of like manipulative, like
あ、うん、
I don't, it's kind of tricky, but I don't exactly know how it works, honestly. But the idea, I think, is that women would say, "Oh, I like your hair that way," even though they think it doesn't look good.
うん、
And then I think the results are either that the other woman kind of, I don't exactly know how to explain it, but basically, one way could be that if she tells her hair looks good, but it doesn't, then maybe she'll keep wearing her hair that way, and that's like, I don't, it's kind of weird, but I don't know if
あ
this
あ、う
really
ん、
happens, by the way. These are kind of like stereotypes.
うん。
I don't know if women really do this,
い
but
や
it is something that you see in movies and stuff like
ー、
that.
いやー、なるほどね。manipulate プラス manipulative で、こう、manipulate は操作する、印象操作するみたいな感じの、操るって感じですけれども、みんながみんなじゃもちろんないですし、ね、性別でくくれないところももちろんあるのは大前提ですけど、ライリーのステレオタイプとして、こう、イメージとしてあるのは、僕の元々の質問はね、こう、思ってないのに言うこともあるのかっていう。で、やっぱ、あるっていうお話で、で、こう女性の中ではね、髪の毛いいじゃんとかなんか言いながら、本当はいいと思ってないのに、で、それを言うことで、うまくなんかね、周りの人も印象操作して、で、なんか一緒にそうやってからかうみたいな、なんかそういうのも映画とかではね、見たりするし、みたいな、うん。それはもしかしたら、国を問わずっていうのが、あるいは性別問わずね、そういうことが起こるのもあるかもしれないですけれども、Yeah, so we've been focused on our appearance.
Mm,
We give compliments about. But what about, for example, job performances, a job performance or something like this? So my point is, when someone is not actually nicely working, and then their job performance is not really good, but the boss always tries to find something nice still, and then they sometimes lie about it.
Um, I don't think so. I mean, it's possible, I guess,
Oh
but
yeah, I should
I
have
don't
asked.
think so.
Yeah, I should have asked differently. Like even at work, do people try to find something nice about people's job performance, first of all?
Um, I think like if you're talking about some kind of like evaluation where a boss is
Uh,
talking to you about
yeah,
your
yeah,
job performance, then I
yeah.
feel like they might try to we call it like sandwich the bad thing with good things. So
Mhm.
they might try to like say a positive thing. Oh, like you get along really well with your coworkers and you're always on time, but uh you don't seem to be working hard while you're sitting at your desk, or you're always
Mhm.
doing, whatever. You're on your phone at work, or I don't know, something like that. So
Mhm.
they might say other kind of good things in order to make the bad thing not feel so bad.
Mhm.
Maybe. Depends on the boss,
Mhm.
but
Mhm. なるほどね。Sandwich, you use that way.
yeah.
あーあ、
I mean, actually, my example wasn't really a sandwich because I did two good things and then one bad thing, but a sandwich would be one good thing, one bad thing, one good thing.
うん
But
うん
yeah.
うん。いや、うんうん。サンドイッチってね、日本語でもね、サンドイッチするみたいな風に言いますけれども、英語でもそんな風にね、動詞として使うんだなって今聞いてて面白かったんですけど、そう、なのでまあ、一旦ちょっと整理すると、こうね、やっぱりいいところは探すと。で、やっぱりこう、見た目とか褒めようとすると。で、人によっては思ってないけれども、やっぱいいところを探すっていう。ただ、別にそれが完全に嘘っていうわけでもなく、こう、本当にいいところを見ようとして言ってるっていう。でも、時にやっぱ無理やり探してるので、ちょっとこう、お世辞感で言ってる時もあったりするっていう。ここまでの話がそういう感じで。で、次僕が思ったのが、見た目とかだけじゃなくて、例えば会社で誰かのね、仕事のパフォーマンスがあって、あんま、そういう時も、まずいい点をアメリカ人とかってこう、言うようにしたりするのかなっていうところが気になって、見た目、つまり見た目だけじゃなくて、何か他のことに対しても、すごいいいねとかって、あえて言うのかなと思ったんですけど、まあ半々って感じかなと思いますかね、今聞いてたら。言ったりもするし、プラス、ね、サンドイッチするっていう、いいことと悪いことをうまいこと伝えるために、こうサンドイッチしたりするっていう。まあでも、I think they're kind of pretty good at giving compliments. なんか褒め上手ではありますよね。で、やっぱ褒め上手であるのってなんかいいなと思うので、まあ、真似したいなと思うんですけれども、Why are you not a typical American in many ways? My another question I want to ask you. Um, do you sometimes feel like you're not a typical American?
Yeah, I would say yeah. I feel like
Oh,
I'm not.
yeah, let's focus on that.
Okay.
そうそう、それ僕さっき実は聞きたいと思ってたんですよ。さっきのライリーの話の流れで僕はそんな褒めたり、あんまするの得意じゃないし、褒められるのも得意じゃなくてとかって言ってた時に、そう、ライリーっていろんなところであんまり典型的なアメリカ人みたいな感じじゃないよねっていうのを僕思ってて、それ後で聞きたいなと思ってて、Yeah, not only about this, like saying sorry thing or, yeah, about lots of things. You sometimes say, I'm not a that kind of person, like typical Americans. So,
Hmm.
yeah, why? なんで？
It's hard. I don't know. I mean, I
うん。
think first of all,
うん。
like probably most people would say I'm not like most Americans for many things, right? Like
Yeah.
nobody is like the perfect American or whatever. Like nobody
あ
meets the stereotype
あ、うん、う
100%,
ん、うん、う
right?
ん、うん、
So I think a lot of people would probably say, "Oh, I don't usually do this, but a lot of Americans do," or something like that.
うん、
Um, but maybe in my case, I might be more, if this makes any sense, more different than average.
うん、
Um, and I don't know exactly why that is. That's probably pretty hard for me to say, but
うん、
I don't know. Part of it's probably that I've lived in Japan for 9 years or whatever.
うん。
Um, but maybe I was different a little bit before
いや、
then too. But I think I don't know. It might. Who knows why? I mean, I have
う
to go to
ん、
therapy or something to find out
うん、
why. But like,
うん、
I think always kind of growing up, I wanted to be. I didn't ever really want to be like everyone else, like in my class or
う
something like
ん、
that. Like if I'm struggling to think of a good example right now, but I think like when I notice my students now, like elementary school students, a lot of the time, if I ask them, I don't know, what their favorite animal is or something like that, one person will say dog, and then everybody else will say dog. Like it's very common that people will copy
う
the
ん、
first person. Maybe this is just kids all over the world, but I feel like my students do it a lot. And when I was a kid, I wouldn't do that. Like
うん、
I would think it would be kind of lazy to do the same thing that everybody else did. So I would try to think of like something interesting, maybe
うん、
maybe if it even wasn't true, I don't know. Maybe my favorite animal, I don't know what it would have been, but if like maybe my favorite animal was a tiger or
う
something,
ん、
and if somebody said tiger before me, then I would change my answer to be like I don't know, a shark or whatever,
うん、うん、うん。Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like you're kind of pretty good at fitting in the atmosphere. In that way, you're not a typical American. I sometimes feel so. And then
You mean I'm not like loud and rude?
I'm not saying that, but mm, I always feel people who love Japan and then who can't live in Japan for a long period of time
Mm.
are kind of not the typical Americans in that way, or not only in America. So they love Japan and the environment in Japan to some extent um, fits or yeah, that's not a big problem for them. Maybe in their home country, they might have felt they're kind of different from others. Yeah, for example,
Mm.
about this saying sorry stuff or giving compliments stuff too. You were not a typical American. And then sometimes I feel like you're kind of like Japanese. So
Oh.
yeah, that's why you can live in Japan for 9 years, in my perspective. So,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think I might say something a little bit different that I mean, like I said, when I was a kid, I kind of liked being different, and
mm,
maybe something like that is why I like living in Japan is because I like being different. Like I'm
oh,
obviously not Japanese to anybody that sees me
oh,
or hears me or anything. So there
mm,
might be something that I kind of like being a little bit different from other people, or in Japan's case, a lot different.
oh,
Although I get what you're saying,
mm,
that I feel in some ways similar to Japanese people and quite different from Americans in terms of like, yeah, some sorts of behavior. But um, I think anybody who lives in a foreign country, it
mm,
doesn't have to be Japan, but any country that is not the one that they were born and raised in has to be adaptable, has to be able to change their behavior to suit where they are. And anybody that lives in that place for a long time should be able to do that?
mm, mm. Yeah. Um, I sometimes feel this person might have been feeling differently in their home country. For example, y- yeah, mm, Riley and Nate and Sean too. Yeah, looking back, they were all kind of quieter and calm compared to this might be my stereotype, but compared to the typical Western people, so
Mm,
they love peaceful atmosphere, and then they try to, you know, have nice relations. They try to fill in. I mean, um, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, I feel like you guys are like Japanese, but in your case, yeah. So I brought this up because I just wanted to know if you had some time when you were feeling uncomfortable living in America.
um,
Yeah, that's
no,
why I thought
I
you
don't really
love.
think so.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I don't really think so. I think I've always kind of wanted to try new things, I guess. Like when I
Oh. Mm-hmm.
um after high school, well, in the middle of high school, I guess when I was like looking at universities and thinking of what universities to apply to, I was pretty much set on like living in a city, a big city because it was
Mm-hmm.
different from my hometown. And also because, I think in a city you're able to experience like more new things because there's,
Mm-hmm.
different cultures and a lot of stuff going on and whatever. I even thought briefly about studying abroad not studying abroad, but like going to university in a different country like Canada or something. Not that different from the US, but at least is a different country. I actually was looking at maybe studying in Montreal
Mm-hmm.
for a little while. I didn't actually end up applying, but uh, yeah, I think I've always kind of wanted to try new things, live somewhere different.
Mm-hmm.
And then I liked living in New York, and I liked studying abroad when I did in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I decided I'll try living in Japan. And I didn't know at the time that I was going to stay here for maybe forever, but 9 years until now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it seems, it's I kind of like it here. So.
Mm. Yeah, so to sum up, you are different. You're not a typical American because you wanted to be different.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think that's fair. Yeah.
oh, interesting. なるほどね。ちょっと謎が解けたかなと思いますかね。うん。And then you still have the plan to live in Japan permanently for now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess I don't want to say like I'll live here forever, but I can say I don't have any plans to go anywhere else for now.
That's good to know. I'll miss you if you go back to America. So アメリカからちょっ
Well,
と寂しい。Go
although,
ahead. うん。
sorry, sometimes I do think about like living in a different country. Probably not going back to America. I mean, I think about that sometimes too,
う
but
ん。
because of family and stuff like that. But I also do think about like, oh, could I move to a country in Europe or a country in South America, Mexico or something like that? Could I go live in another different country?
うん。
Because I think that seems interesting. But I'm getting older now. I mean, I'm 30. I'm not that
うん。
old, but like, now is more the time maybe to get ready for the future
う
instead of
ん。
trying new things now. Maybe if I had come to Japan with that plan and tried, oh, I can do 2 years in Japan and 2 years in Mexico or whatever, right?
う
That would have been
ん。
cool. But um, no, I think for now and for the medium term, I would
うん。
say Japan is the place I'll be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you already have lots of friends. Strong bond. You have the strong bond with your community and your friends, and then you're kind
Yeah.
of yeah, you're accustomed to this environment now, I think. なるほどね。そう。今日のテーマはね、こう、人を褒めるっていうアメリカならではのこのテーマ、こう、彼ら上手ですよねっていう。で、まあ、そこから派生して、ライリーがいろいろこの前のね、 アメリカ人でも謝らないっていう人がいて、昔からなんかと思ってたとかね。で、今回の褒めるっていうのも、いや、自分はそんなにしないっていう、いろいろこう、典型的なアメリカ人じゃないっていう、一面っていろいろ見えてくると思うんですけど、なんでなんだろうとか、どこでそうなるんだろうっていうのは、常にやっぱ気になってて、で、今ね、後半はそういうお話になってましたが、to sum up って言ってましたけど、まとめると、ライリーとしてはこう、みんなと同じのことはしたくないっていう思いが、結構強いからっていうところみたいですね。ただなんか僕的には結構人に合わせるのが上手というか、なんか、そんなになんかみんなと違うみたいな、こう、我が強い感はない気がして、Yeah, I didn't know that, or I still don't believe you're trying to be different because you're pretty good at um getting along with anybody. So
うん。
that's kind of surprising. Yeah. なんか僕の方が強そうじゃないですかってそう思うから、なんかライリーはすごいいろんな人とうまくやっている感じがすごい上手なイメージがあったので、そこがそうなんだと思いつつも、でもライリー的にはそうあんまり同じ風にはなりたくないっていうところから、こう、ね、こうなってると。ただね、ずっと僕は話してたのは、結構日本が好きだったり、あるいは日本に住めてる外国人の方って、なんか母国で、なんかこれ違うなって思うことが、結構あったりして、アンカンファタボーになっちゃうこととかもあったりするがゆえに日本が結果的に合ってるんじゃないかなって僕はなんか思うことがあって、ネイトもそうですし、ショーンもそうですし、ライリーもそうですし、あるいはね、どんな外国人の方も、例えばすごいアニメが好きって思ったとしても、外国でそんなね、大人になってもアニメが好きっていう人が周りにたくさんいるとかじゃないと思うんですよ。ってなるとその時点で、なんか自分違うなとかと思う。で、その結果日本が合うとか、あとはなんかパーティーが好きみたいな人もね、アメリカとかいっぱいいる中で、なんか自分パーティー好きじゃないな、もうちょっと静かな場所が好きだな。なんか周りの目自分は結構気にするなってなったら、日本が私合うみたいな、なんか結果そういう風になって日本に住んでる方多いんじゃないかなとかと思って今日はね、この会話をしてたと思っていただきたいなと思いますね。そう、でもライリーに関しては、そんなにアメリカにいてアンカンファタブルに感じたとかじゃなく、やっぱいろんなところに住んでみたい、新しいことしてみたい、人と違うことやってみたいっていう結果、日本にいたり、あるいは人をそんなに褒めるのが得意じゃないっていうところは分かりましたので、そう、今度ライリー会った時は、Yeah, when we meet up, please give one compliment to me.
Okay.
はい、Yes. 今日のエピソード、
Challenge.
チャレンジなんや。
I'm joking. I'm joking.
今日のエピソードはい
かがでしたでしょうか？
いかがでしたでしょうか。そう、僕、振り返ってみたら、あんまりライリーに、そう、I like your shirt とか、I like your shoes とか、I like your hair とか言われたことないなって今思ったので、そう、今度会った時は、そう、ライリーに、褒めてもらおうっていうのを今ね、約束しました。そう、僕も会った時何かね、こう、褒めてもらう、僕も褒めますので、ライリーにも褒めてもらおうかなと思いますが、
You don't have to.
いやいや、しますします。そう。でも本当に思ってるから。そう、in my case, I always say honestly. So not a fake thing.
うん。
うんうん。はい、僕は英語のソフトで調べていただくと、YouTube とか Twitter とか、いろいろ出てきます。何ですか、褒めてください、皆さん。僕にね、なんか褒めコメントをください。で、ライリーも、ライリーサンドマイク XT で調べていただいて、ライリーのいいところね、めっちゃ褒めてあげてください。もしかしたらライリーからね、I like your profile とか、なんか、そう、返答が返ってくるかもしれませんね。なので、はい、ぜひコメントもしてみてください。では、ライリー、何か、give compliment. Yeah, give a compliment to our listeners.
You have good taste in podcasts.
確かにそうです。ライリーからの褒め言葉としてすごいいいテイスト持ってますね。いい趣味してますね。このポッドキャスト聞いてるのはっていうことでした。ではまた次回のエピソードでお会いしましょう。
Bye.
はい。